Welcome back to our Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news. In this video, we're going to be talking about Nikola Pepe, who is actually set to stay at Arsenal this summer, as he has rejected another move to see him away from the Emirates Stadium again. Now, he's back in full training. That is the one thing that Arsenal have done. He's no longer training alone. He's back in full training, and he's actually being viewed as a backup to Bukayo Saka this whole season. I want your thoughts. I want your reactions in the comment box below. Do you think Nikola Pepe has the quality to back up Saka when he picks up an injury, when we want to rotate him to play for us in the UEFA Champions League? Does he have the right to wear that Arsenal jersey again and represent? I want your thoughts there. I want your comment. I want your opinions in the comment box below. Now, the story coming out shows that Nikola Pepe has had another deal breakdown. That deal was to take him to Besiktas. He has also had that deal breakdown. He has rejected his move to Besiktas as he wants to either go there on a free. Arsenal are also rejecting to, cancel his contract. So Arsenal are saying, if anyone wants you, if other clubs actually want you, they've got to pay some money. They've got to pay up if they're going to take you. Otherwise, we are not cancelling your contract. And now, he's had a couple of offers, by the way, this summer. He has had, I think, two from Saudi Arabia, one from France, one from Italy, and one from, Besiktas. And all those deals have actually broken down. So he was training alone recently, and Nichola had communicated to the player and his camp as well that he doesn't have any thoughts and doesn't have any room for the player in his squad. He doesn't have any thoughts of playing Nikola Pepe ever again in this Arsenal team. And that was taken with a very, very good initiative, because the agent of the player started right away to look for options, going to talk to a couple of clubs. Saudi Arabian moves came in, Turkish moves came in, and all these other options. But why Nikola Pepe has not gone away is still a big question. I don't think Arsenal have received any important offers for Nikola Pepe, and I also don't think Nikola Pepe is ready to leave Arsenal this summer. And I'm going to explain why in a second. But before we get into that, today the major update coming out is that Nikola Pepe has been reintegrated into the Arsenal squad. He's been reintegrated into the Arsenal training, and is now training with the team rather than training alone. So, the player training with the team doesn't have any problem. Pepe is still under contract with Arsenal, and it is his full right and obligation to enjoy all the privileges that come with signing with Arsenal and having a contract with Arsenal. You have he must have access to the gym, access to the training ground, and probably training as well. There's no reason really why Nikola Pepe should not train with the team. There's no reason as why Pepe should be treated as an outcast. The only reason why Nichola decided to let Pepe train alone probably was either if he felt he was way behind in terms of fitness, whether the player was too behind in terms of catching up, and maybe fitness issues and all things like that. But training with the team, I really don't have a problem with that. I don't think Pepe should be treated as an outcast. He was brought in for some good money, and he didn't meet the expectations, and that is never his fault. He was never a £70 million signing. So back in training, no problem. The problem is the talk about him being reintegrated into the squad to back up Saka. This might be a bad move, but this might be a good move as well. Okay, so one, Nikola Pepe is one of the highest earners at Arsenal. Probably not highest earners anymore, but he's one of the players getting 100,000 and above in this Arsenal setup. So leaving this summer and selling him or cancelling his contract would actually save Arsenal a lot of money right every month. So I think that would be one of the reasons why Mikel Arteta, why Edu, and all the concerned parties at Arsenal decided that Nikola Pepe has to move on. Like, he's on big wages. He's not playing for the club. He's not representing us, and we're not even going to get good money. You're not going to get 10 million or even 15 million out of the sale of Nikola Pepe. Currently, his market value on the transfer market website is 18 million euros. Mind you, Arsenal invested 72 million in 2019 to bring in Nikola Pepe. Right now, his market value is 18 million. So you can see Arsenal do not gain anything by him being there. You're not going to sell him for good money. You're not going to, get a good season out of him. For me, the better thing would have been cancelling his contract and letting him go to find a club of his own. But let's talk about the integration. Let's talk about the reintegration. One, it's kind of ridiculous. Very ridiculous, actually, for a manager in Mikel Arteta to tell the entourage of the player, to communicate, directly or indirectly to Nikola Pepe's camp that the player is no longer part of the plans of Arsenal Football Club, that the player is not in the plans of Mikel Arteta, and then the decision comes in that Pepe is going to stay, and therefore he has to be reintegrated into the squad. Like, it would be kind of hard if Mikel Arteta has to select Nikola Pepe because he's part of the squad. Now, he's a manager that we know he can leave you out for the whole season, right? Last season, Fabio Vieira played like 3 games in the Premier League or 4 games in the Premier League. And a couple of other players who Mikel felt they were not good enough and therefore they won't be representing. So I don't think Mikel will have a problem not selecting Nikola Pepe. The problem is that Nikola Pepe is being kept at the side as a backup in a very important position, as a backup, as competition for Bukayo Saka. We know Saka will have to be rotated. We know Arsenal could, suffer an injury. Saka could suffer an injury, and we know it's going to be a lot of game time. So there is UCL, there's FA Cup, there is Carabao Cup, and there is the Premier League. We will need options, and we need options. Is Nikola Pepe a quality player to be one of those options? I'm sorry, I've got to say no. I've said this since 2020, during the birth of this channel. I don't think Nikola Pepe is at the level where Arsenal need him to be. I don't think Nikola Pepe is going to be at the level that Arsenal need him to be. And it's as simple as that, and it's not going to change. Okay, so if we cannot get Kudus, if we cannot get Nico Williams, if we can't get Pedro Neto, if we cannot sign Maynard Solomon, actually I thought that would have been kind of a genius move if Arsenal had signed Maynard Solomon this summer. But if we cannot get any of those deals done, right, it's all right. I think Arsenal should let Pepe go, and we know we do not have an option there. Of course, there are a few options, but they're not as good as Saka. They're not to the level of Bukayo Saka. And still, Nikola Pepe is at the same level as these options, right? So you look at what Saka does for Arsenal. He's that provider, that man that really assists a lot of the time. Most of our progressive balls arrive into Bukayo Saka's feet. I don't think that's Nikola Pepe. I don't think Nikola Pepe can replicate Saka. I don't have a problem with the Cote d'Ivoire man. I don't have a problem with the African. I'm African, and I love Africans being at Arsenal. I love Africans staying in the club. But with Nikola Pepe, I think at 28, when your contract runs down in 2024, you either want regular game football, regular game time, right? So that by the time the AFCON 2024 arrives, you have actually, played some good football, or you bust. As simple as that. So for me, it won't look good, especially when Mikel Arteta doesn't select him. It won't look good, especially if Mikel Arteta has to select him, because he has been told the guy cannot go this summer, or he's going to stay for this season. It will be uncomfortable. It will be very, very uncomfortable scenes. But if Nikola Pepe decides to stay at Arsenal, I will understand. I mean, Arsene Wenger predicted this so many years ago, that many players are going to be running down their contracts in order to get a huge sign-on fee and crazy numbers and crazy figures. I think this is where, Pepe and his camp are looking. They're trying to cajole and convince Arsenal into cancelling his contract. And if they cannot, then they will stay at the club, kind of Nikola Pepe vibes. Sorry, kind of, Kylian Mbappe vibes. They will stay at the club for a whole season and then leave on a free in the summer. That actually works for Nikola Pepe. That doesn't work for Arsenal because we will still have to pay his huge wages this summer. Okay? So I think this should be the argument. I think this is what Arsenal can do. Why don't we talk to Nikola Pepe and his camp? They bring in a club that can actually pay, the rest of his wages for this season. So Arsenal don't pay anything as he cancels his contract. He gets a big sign-on fee to wherever club is going to go, and we end the relationship amicably. I don't think Pepe has been a bad player. I don't think he's been one of those guys that the media have portrayed as having a bad relationship with Arsenal or Mikel Arteta. He's not indisciplined. He's not lazy. He's just not working for Arsenal. As simple as that. And there's so many players that have found themselves in that situation where he's not lazy. He's not, just poor. He's just not working for the system and he's not working for the new manager. Okay? So for me, quality-wise, Nikola Pepe is not that player. I'm sorry. He is not the player Arsenal need. He is not the player that Arsenal want to be playing alongside Saka or behind Saka when Saka comes off the pitch. Because you don't know what's going to happen. If Saka picked up an injury and we had Mohamed Kudus or Pedro Neto, that's a different story. Right? You would still have a bowler and you would still have a player who's got the ability to be as important as Saka. But if Saka picked up an injury and you have Pepe behind him, you're trying to tell a guy that has failed to light up his career for 5 years at Arsenal to light it up under pressure. It's useless. It's absolutely useless. So Pepe or nothing at the moment. I'm going to choose nothing. It's stupid. It's a very, very stupid decision for me to take such a choice. But it's nothing. It's similar when you ask Man United fans right now, Anthony or nothing. They would rather go with nothing. Like, they're just that bad. And those kind of signings, they've always happened. They've always been there in the Premier League. Pepe is not the first one, and Pepe is not going to be the last one. I tell you what, this season, if Fabio Vieira doesn't come around, he's going to follow into Lokonga's and Nikola Pepe's, paths as well. It's what's going to happen. So, bad signings happen. Transfers are always gamble. Pepe is a gamble that didn't work out. I don't think reintegration into the Arsenal squad is the answer. I just don't think. I just don't think. Like I said, as a player, Mikel Arteta tried to help him. He tried to make him better. But there is that point where it is not working. Look at Saka. From the left-hand side to the right-hand side, inverting, scoring, and creating. The impact has worked. Look at Martinelli. From the right-hand side to the left-hand side, inverting, scoring, and creating, the impact has worked from Mikel Arteta. Look at Odegaard. From that is a wonder kid that didn't meet his expectations to, whoa, was he always that good? The impact has worked. You look at Granit Xhaka. From the most hated Arsenal player to one of the players that Arsenal fans wanted to stay this summer, the impact from Mikel Arteta has worked. So there is enough evidence that manager Mikel Arteta can transform careers of players, just not Nikola Pepe's. As simple as that. So Pepe or nothing, I'll take nothing. I'll definitely take nothing. I'm sorry. It's that brutal and it is that rude. But I want your thoughts and opinions on Nikola Pepe staying at Arsenal. Is it a genius move from Mikel Arteta and Edu, or eventually he will actually prove them wrong, that he was not the player they thought he was? Let me know in the comment box below.